And we're back. This time with an HP Pavilion. If we go ahead and have a look on the side, assuming I could turn it around here, you can see that it is a P6 series. Or at least you could, if the stupid thing would focus. This thing is worse than VHS-C cameras, I swear. Model P6-2116. If you go looking that up, you'll find about as much information as I did, which is to say nothing. They know that this P6 exists, but they don't know that this particular model exists. I wanted to see what CPU it had in it without having to power it up, but unfortunately that's not going to be the case. There's Windows 7, what is that? Windows 7 Home Premium COA on it. I'm going to be making use of that. It's got a supply your own hard drive, so I got another one of those 1TB RE4 drives in here. Here's the power supply. Probably a 300 watt, but I haven't actually looked at it. This is one of those weird HP designs that they were fond of, where the power supply is up here, but the motherboard is like switched around. Sometimes you'll find these with the power supply in the bottom, where the whole design is sort of upside down. Kind of to mimic BTX, except it's not BTX, it's an ATX motherboard that's installed backwards. So, I really don't know why HP thought that was a good idea. I am going to need to clean it up a little bit, assuming that can be cleaned up, but that's not a big deal. Spec-wise, I really don't know. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about it, other than the fact that it's got a Pentium in it. Apparently, you could order these with like Core i3s in them. I think it's a Sandy Bridge architecture. Again, this is just going from memory. Twisting my memory is probably not a good idea. So, it's dark in there. Alright, this thing was chock full of dust. I went ahead and cleaned it out. So, it's got 2 RAM slots. It's DDR3. So I've got two 2GB sticks in there for 4 gigs total. And you can see there's no PCI. It's all PCI Express. So that's definitely interesting and a departure. This chip is kind of interesting to me. I'm not sure why the die is exposed like that. I think that's the South Bridge. Huh. That's kind of weird. So is this drive mounting thing. It took me forever to figure out how the hell this worked. It does look like you can install 2.5-inch hard drives in here if you wanted to. Of course, good luck with that. There is no 3.3 volt line, so you're going to be stuck with some of the the bigger, higher end hard drives, like the Velociraptor and whatnot, that doesn't use the 3.3 volt line. Of course, it's SATA through and through. There is no IDE, and if we look at the back, it's completely legacy free. So this is a weenie modern computer, obviously. I mean, what more could you expect out of something like this? And it's probably honestly a piece of crap, but I'm going to give it a chance, and the idea here is that it will be used in the interim in my studio as a music player, and when it's done doing that, it'll be used as another music player, just for, guest. If I ever have a guest in here, they can use this. So I figure, the few times I actually do have a guest in here, it'll get used then. Otherwise, it probably won't see a whole lot of use at all. Might as well not use something good for that. It should be good enough to play music and do all of that, because, a Pentium 4 can do it comfortably, so there should be no reason why this can't do it very well. Okay, let me slap the cover on this, get my USB stick for installation, because that's where my 64-bit install is, and we will install Windows. Now, I could go with 32-bit, or maybe I should go with 32-bit, because this thing is unlikely to see more than 4 gigs of RAM anyway, but just in case I do want to upgrade it at some point in the future, we might as well. This DDR3 is still relatively easy to find, and somewhat cheap, even. Okay, I got it all cabled up. Curiously, I note that there is apparently no USB 3.0 on this board. Go ahead and look down there. There's the Ethernet and 4 USB ports, but none of them are blue, so there's no 3.0. It's a very curious omission. I'm sure that it's going to power itself on the instant that I turn the UPS on. It didn't. That's interesting. So let this do its self-test. Or actually, let's power it up while it's doing a self-test. Watch that runtime drop. Oh, I hope I managed to make it to the BIOS. Nope, now it's booting into Windows off of the install. It's already on the hard drive. I don't want to keep that install. How much power are we using? 50 watts. That's not bad. Actually, that's really good. So, nice little non-power hungry machine. Alright, I'm going to shut this off since I'm not keeping this installed. We'll see if we can get into the BIOS. Alright, it's interesting to see that the setup utility still hasn't changed since the compact days, although the font's different. I think it's UEFI, which I hate, but such is the way that things go. G640. I thought it was an 840, but it's only a 640, 2.8 gigahertz. It's not too bad. 3 megs of L3 cache. Like I said, it's not terrible. I mean, it's not a screamer by any stretch of the imagination. We'll need to check for an updated BIOS. What's the date and time? Well, it's not quite correct. It's 2 hours slow. Other than that, it's fine, though. So there's our drives. Make sure it's an AHCI. Boot order. Yeah, this is UEFI. We get monitoring for his fan speed, but we don't get any fan speed control. It kind of sucks. You don't even get a lot of options here. Set that to previous state. Let's give it a 5-second post delay. That makes it easier to get in the system set up. Okay, that's not useful. No, that's really useful. Oh, that should be good to go. Everything should be fine. Network boot. It's enabled. Alright. So we'll go ahead and save those changes and exit. At which point it will reboot. And of course, I forgot my USB stick. We're off to the races. I was always under the impression that Windows 7 did not like UEFI. But apparently it's working just fine on this machine. Who knows, maybe it's a hybrid UEFI legacy design. I don't know. What do they call that? CSM or something? I think that's something else. Corporate stable model for Asus motherboards, but whatever the case may be, we're installing off of a USB stick right now. And we should be good to go here in about 10 minutes, I'd say. Maybe a little bit longer than that. How about 20 minutes? Because it is a mechanical hard drive, so. A lot of people love to question why I would install an operating system like Windows 7 that's going out of support very soon. Those people would be very, very surprised to see this. Now, I'm not talking about the market share of Windows 7, which is still at about, 37%. Which is actually really good. There's a lot of people that are not running Windows 8.1. I'm one of them that is, because I think Windows 10 is a plague. But look at this. Windows XP, at almost 3%, has more market share than Linux. I'm gonna let that sink in there for a minute. Windows XP has been out of support for 5 years now. Actually, more than 5 years if you count months, but we'll say 5 years. Been out of support for about 5 years now. And it still has about double the market share of Linux. Does that tell you something? See, the issue with all of this is that a lot of those are probably dedicated use systems and, equipment like logic analyzers and whatnot that happens to be PC-based. They run Windows XP for the most part. And this thing is probably going to try and boot from that. I want it to not boot from that. Okay, actually, no, it's booting from the hard drive. Wow. But honestly, I don't care about support. For someone like this, which is really not going to be doing a whole lot, I don't care. You know? In fact, right up until June, when I tore everything out of here, I was still running a Windows XP machine in the studio. A little Shuttle X PC. If I didn't have to tear everything out, I probably would still be running it right now. Thinking about upgrading it, because I was before I tore everything out. But I'd probably still be running it. So let this install finish, and we will continue on here. But I guess the simple fact of the matter is, people don't really care about support anymore. You know, the 3% of people that are still running Windows XP, I mean, sure, you're probably going to have, you know, the few people who aren't knowledgeable, who don't know what they're doing in there, and who just don't know any better. But at the same time, a lot of those people are probably people who know exactly what they're doing. They know what they're getting themselves into. They know how to take the necessary precautions. You don't need to wheedle, beg, and plead these people to upgrade. Because chances are, they've got another machine already sitting around that has been upgraded. So yeah, I don't want to hear anything. You're installing an unsupported operating system. Nobody cares. Certainly not me. I guess this is a little too new for Windows 7. Wow, it has no knowledge of anything. No sound, no Ethernet, no wireless, and the display is running a generic frame buffer driver. I hope HP has drivers for this thing. Okay, continue without scanning because there's nothing wrong with it. And here, Pavilion P6 drivers. This is a BIOS update. But the rest of these should be installable. Update has completed. Click yes to restart. No, I still have more to install. Alright. This is a chipset driver. So this should be for the SM bus. I do have wireless now, so that's good. I wonder if all these driver packages are the same. Looks like they are. So I'll go through all of these, and we'll see what's still missing. Go away with your home group junk. Why would anybody want that? All the drivers are installed. I did not install the rapid storage technology driver because I think that rapid storage technology is dumb, but there are no unknown devices. And that is all that matters. Alright, let's go ahead and activate. Are you kidding me? Well, that's kind of stupid. Alright, here are the Windows Experience Index scores. Not bad, considering it's just a Pentium G640. I've actually, believe it or not, I have an i5. I think it's an i5, might be an i3, sitting at work for the 1155 platform. I wonder if the system would support that. If it would, that would be a nice little upgrade. But I'm not, like I said, this thing probably should be more than good enough for this kind of task anyway. If I'm going to put an i5 in it, I'm going to put an i5 in something, I'd rather put it in something that's much better than this. Tinfoil. The case cleaned up very nicely, as you can see. Looks really good. Almost looks brand new. So, there we go. To think this thing was going to be thrown away, left for dead. Seems to be nothing wrong with it. But now that I've hooked it up to my network, I've got to go through the lovely task of downloading and installing all the updates. So I'm probably going to leave the video at that. I think you've all probably seen, you know, updates before, so. And of course, before it installs anything, I am going to go for the Microsoft update. Because once you upgrade Internet Explorer, this doesn't work anymore. So, there we go. And I think that'll pretty much do it. So thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666 signing off. And I'll see you next time. Till then.